Screenshot. Yo, we are live. I see some people already waiting in the chat. What up? What up? What
Yo,
up? Let's see. All right, pose for the camera. Got it. And then I'll tweet that out from Talking Nets. And then we'll get started, yo. I just watched the game again. And
yeah, I think I watched the replay twice this morning because I was like, got to see that again. That was some beautiful basketball.
when we needed it, like I had honestly I had no faith. We'll talk about that shit because I had no faith, bro. Going
Yeah,
into the game, I'm like, I have no reason to think that we beat them on their home floor, judging by the way we've played against good teams and how we've played in the last 2 weeks.
yeah, and how they played in the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, that's funny you said they because I always say we. I'm such a fan with my teams.
No,
I
no, no.
always
I'm
say
talking about
we.
Chicago. Chicago. I'm saying how Chicago was playing the last few
Oh, I was
weeks.
about to say I always say
Nah, I
we.
never say they.
I include myself with the
Of
Nets, and
course, of course.
now that I'm doing radio, somebody was like, "Yo, bro, when we're broadcasting, you can't be saying we." Like I was on with Chris Carino
Yeah,
and Tim Capstraw, and they're like, "Bro, you got to say the Nets. You got to say them. You got to
them.
say they." I'm like,
You
"Nah,
you
that's
gotta
my
detach
squad. I'm
yourself.
with the gang."
Yeah,
All right, let me see. Once I get this tweet out, we'll get started. What's up? I see y'all in the chat. What up, Brittany? Ready for this one? I seen Rehala 88 was in the chat early. He was in there at 12. Like, let's freaking go. All right. Nets fans pumped up for this one. Y'all know DJ? Y'all should. If you don't, you're gonna see him today and you'll see him again. Now that I'm the solo host, I'm gonna have a rotating chair. I'm gonna have somebody different every week, and then we'll have repeat guests. We'll have repeat co-hosts. All right, let's see. Keep it fierce and DJ are live. Let's see. New Talking Nets recording now. And where's the YouTube link, yo? There it is. All right. Make sure y'all hit like. Make sure y'all subscribe. We have officially hit 1K. We
let's
have hit
go.
1,000 subscribers officially now. It's a huge milestone. I remember when this had 0. I remember when I made it.
Yeah, I remember. It's crazy watching like you guys, Nets Kingdom, like from the mud. Like I remember when I was first starting out, and I was like, "Yo, with the way the team is looking, this should get some traction."
I mean,
And
that's what I set out to do. I put a tweet out the other day. I was like, yo, when we started this in 2019, my whole thing was like, yo, the Nets are going to be really good and they deserve coverage. Like, I was
yeah,
doing all the Yankee stuff, and the Yankees have had coverage from fans for
yeah,
years and
forever.
podcasts and
Yeah,
fan made media and social media content. And I was like, it's lacking for the Nets.
yeah, definitely something we needed more of. And now we got so many different people coming up, giving us coverage, building the fan base up, teaching people outside the fan base about us because they swore we didn't exist. We here,
Right. That's another thing.
we
Nets
here.
fans don't exist. I'm gonna keep bringing
There's
in
only
Nets fan
seven of
after
us,
Nets
bro.
fan after Nets fan to debunk that. Like, I'm tired of
Facts.
hearing that. All right, here we
Yes.
go. Let me see. Your mic, if you check your mic settings, if you go to audio, check and see if it says automatically adjust mic volume, stereo audio on the bottom, just to make sure you're loud enough.
Let me see. Yeah, it's on automatically adjust and echo cancellation.
Jared says, "You forgot about me, Keith." Nah, I didn't forget about you, bro. I'm just getting there. I didn't think the big three would play that game the way me either. Nobody was really going into that game confident. What led you to be so confident? They shocked the world, honestly.
Yeah,
All right. Not gonna waste DJ's time. We're about to get this started. We got a couple people watching, and that's good enough. Ready?
Yes,
Let me get
sir.
the box score up. Won't really necessarily need the box score. Can talk about this just off the top, but it's good to have.
Yeah.
All right. And I just seen the Cam Reddish trade, and then I just saw Woj put something out. So let me get that. Let me get the tweet from Woj about Kyrie. It's not even like about Kyrie, but it's
The one about the rules.
yeah, it's basically, and we'll talk about it. We'll
Yeah.
talk about it because it became news. Um, it's not really news though.
Yeah, like I think I'm pretty sure I saw other people bring up that loophole for a while now.
Yeah, I swore I knew about this. Like I posted on Talking Nets Instagram. Like this is not new news. Like
Yeah,
we
like
heard about this. We've
we
been
knew
heard
about this
about
for
this,
weeks.
and it never was a real option. That's not
No,
what the league wants them to do, and that's not what the Nets are trying to do. It's not about the money. We're
no,
talking about a couple
it's
$1,000s. The Nets make. I literally said the Nets make that at the first bar when you come into Barclays and go left. That bar right there makes
right.
$5,000 a night.
Exactly.
All right, from the top. Here we go in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Talking Nets episode 143. Man, a statement game in the statement jerseys. Those are the Nets. Scary Hours would pop up last night in Chicago with the world watching nationally televised game number 1 versus number 2. It's a good time to be a Nets fan. I felt like that game was for the Nets fans. We were feeling it, you know? The Portland loss, overtime, barely beating the Spurs. We needed one like that with the big three on the floor, with our rookies showing out. We'll talk about that game, obviously. We'll touch a little bit on the Portland game.
Yeah.
We'll touch a little bit on just like this run for the Nets that was a little subpar. You know, we struggled a little bit. I think we lost 5 out of 7. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about this news, but it's not really news. It's Kyrie talk, more Kyrie for clicks.
Yeah.
Talking about Kyrie and a fine being paid for him to play at Barclays, and now they're going out there to debunk that and say that's not true, whatever. We'll get into it, and I have a special guest with me today, my guy DJ from Nets Republic, Nets Twitter, host of a Nets Twitter space that is growing and growing. You already know, man.
Yes,
Talking
sir.
Nets.
We go hard. 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 Brooklyn, we go hard. We go hard. Brooklyn, we go hard.
Yes, sir. Welcome
Yo.
back to Talking Nets, episode 143. 143 when I was in school, like middle school, wasn't 143 love. Don't you love the Nets?
Yes, sir.
Don't you love when the Nets play like that on national TV
It's a
and you
beautiful
can
sight.
wake up the next morning, poke your chest out like, yo, we got Patty Mills.
Yes, sir.
We got the big
sniper.
3. Hey, let me introduce y'all to my guy, DJ. This guy is known in the Nets Twitter world. This guy is also a contributor now to Nets Republic. He's just on point with the tweets. He knows what to say. He knows what to put out there. He knows how to mix his videos and GIFs in the right timing.
Hey,
He's also a Yankee fan. He knows. He came
Yes,
through
sir.
with the Yankee logo
Yes, sir.
on and the Brooklyn logo on. DJ, what's up, man? Go ahead and introduce yourself.
what's up? What's up? I like to introduce myself as, the Nets Twitter troublemaker. I like, riling up the crowd a little bit with my tweets, whether that's within the fan base or with everybody else. Like you said, just started at Nets Republic. We're going to be building a lot over there this year. We got more content coming on YouTube as well. And tomorrow we're going to have our first Nets Republic hosted spaces. So make sure y'all tap into that. Just so we're not competing with everybody else on the post game. So look out for that. Lifelong Nets fan, been doing this since the Jersey days, since the days at CAA.
Yeah, speak on
Love
it.
the
Speak on it.
squad.
How could I forget that? How could I leave that out? There's pictures on the internet of DJ Young repping the Nets. So he's not a new Big Three Nets fan. He's not even a new Brooklyn era Nets fan. He's been with the Nets. And I know y'all seen pictures of me as a kid. I don't got to vouch. Oh, there you go. I'm like, what happened?
Yeah, I was like, wait, we got lost?
You froze up or you disappeared? Nah, he's back. He's back. He's back.
We good.
All right, so let's get into it. So we start off with news and narratives here. The main news narrative headline is around Kyrie. And Stephen Bondi put out an article yesterday where he got people going. Not really Nets fans, though. Nets fans knew this, I thought. Some didn't. But the article was about Kyrie playing at home and the Nets just paying a small fine per game. And I think the way that it was put out there was like the first game is a $1,000 offense, $2,000, and then once it gets up to $5,000, it's just $5,000 every time. I saw a post on Instagram on January 4th that somebody calculated all the remaining games, and they're like, oh, if the Nets just paid $80,000, Kyrie can play the rest of the season. What'd you think when you saw that, bro? Obviously, Nets were never going for it.
It made me laugh because it's another example. Like, even hypothetically, say Kyrie gets the job today, doesn't miss a game for the rest of the year, stays out of the way, they still gonna find a reason to talk about him and, you know, try to make it seem like he's trying to bend the rules and thinking he above the law, when nobody, like, that was never brought up. They brought up the possibility of exemptions, which are, you know, within their legal right to look at. But, you know, Bondi, I'll keep my comments to myself. But I just knew, I was like, I know people are going to run with this. And the people who already dislike him are just going to be like, oh, look, it's Kyrie trying to get them to break the rules for him again. So it was just like, whatever. I'm not going to put so much thought into that. But the comments post-game yesterday made me feel a little better about the possibility of him coming back full-time real soon.
I'm glad you mentioned that. Now, I always tell people, watch the post-game. I'm in the Twitter spaces last night. I'm going back and forth between spaces, but I'm watching the post-game. If you watch the post-game, the players, they will tell you what's up. They will tell you what's going on.
For sure.
And in the post-game, James Harden might have said too much, right? One, right. He made a joke about, I'm going to give Kyrie the shot. Yeah. I think they're just tired of getting asked about the shot and the vaccine.
For sure.
It's been months now. Since September, they've been asked about Kyrie getting the shot, getting the vaccine. And what kind of answer you expect?
Right. They want to hear the same thing over and over, apparently.
And, you know, basically, Woj, I didn't watch the national broadcast. I'm Yes Network all the way. Every time I can watch Yes. Same. Unless we're losing, then I might switch to ESPN for, like, superstitious reasons. But on Twitter after the game, people were like, yo, Woj just alluded on ESPN to Kyrie returning sooner rather than later, playing at home full time. Yeah, they've been working on it. And it's not a matter of $5,000. We're talking about the Brooklyn Nets. We're talking about Joe Tsai. We're talking about billions, not thousands.
The richest owner in the league. Like,
we could crowdsource the money to pay for Kyrie to play at home.
Exactly.
It's not about that, right? So the article that Bondi put out, he wrote, you know, let's see. It's silly to combat illogic with illogical, which brings us back to the mandate. The original version, Executive Order 225, specified non-resident professional athletes as exempt from the indoor vaccine mandate, which would have included Irving since he resides in New Jersey. However, that was amended 9 days later to only exempt professional athletes who don't play for an NYC team. In other words, unvaccinated John Doe, Brad Beal, Trey
Justin
Burke,
Holiday,
Jonathan Isaac, you know, those guys can play in Barclays for the New Orleans Pelicans. But unvaccinated Kyrie Irving, who lives in New Jersey, cannot because he plays for Brooklyn. That shit is stupid.
It doesn't make any sense.
We all know. We've all been talking about it all year. Like, make it make sense.
It doesn't.
So the Nets are fighting that.
The funny thing to me is the people that are like, you know, he could put people at risk. Like, bro, there's people who test, and it's a terrible thing to do. People test positive, but because they don't check people who are vaxxed, they'll be like, okay, I tested positive, but they're only checking for my vax card. So I'm
Right.
still going to go inside. So now you're literally sitting next to someone who's yelling and drinking beer and, you're within close proximity of them and you're unsuspecting because they're vaccinated, but they're walking around COVID positive, where Kyrie and everyone else on the team now, I'm sure, has to get tested every day. And for Kyrie, it's multiple times a day. So it's just so funny to me how people are pretending this is some crazy morality thing when it's just like, nah, this is all power, control, whatever.
What people have to realize is the situation is evolving day by day
Every day.
and
Yeah.
changing day by day. And people's minds and thoughts about the virus and the vaccine are changing every
Every day.
day. They're working to get this exemption. We just saw in Boston a couple weeks ago that they changed it so that their own players were good.
Yeah.
That can happen here because what are they actually standing on? I think I said to Billy Reinhart last night, I'm like, it's going to change because at this point, what are we actually talking about? Safety? We can't be talking about safety. I've been in Barclays with friends that are unvaccinated with fake vax cards, 2 of them. I have been in Barclays where when I was in last Friday, I went to the game. When I left the game, I started to feel sick. I'm like, did I get sick in here? Like being around all these people? Maybe.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. We're talking about a guy on the court in the locker room with the team versus 17,000 people all around
All
the
mingling
arena
and
yelling and
close.
screaming.
Yeah, exactly.
And, we're getting there, folks. That's what I want y'all to know. We're getting there. I just saw somebody say it in the chat. Kyrie will get exempt and be able to play at home. Yes, we are on the way to that. Like, that is what's happening. So all the people that want to say stuff about, oh, man, the Nets sure need Kyrie on the road. What are they going to do about home court advantage? They should lose so that stop that dumb talk.
Tank so that we get a 5th seed.
What are you
Oh
saying?
my God.
What are you
Nah,
saying?
that
That's
take
not
is crazy.
logical at all.
Nah.
And for one guy, that one guy last night helped us space the floor, be a distraction. He gave us 9 points. We'll get to that in a second. It's not going to come to that. The Nets have been working on this behind the scenes. The Nets are powerful. They have connections with the right people, with the mayor, whatever. At the latest, I would expect this to all be resolved by playoffs. But if you actually are on Twitter and you were listening to the spaces and reading between the lines of the tweets, they're thinking Kyrie could be back later this month, playing in Barclays unvaccinated. And there's going to be a lot of people deleting tweets, eating their words, and switching sides, acting like they were always with it, right? Because there's still a lot of people saying, well, Kyrie should just get vaccinated. He's not getting the shot. He had all year. He's coming up on a whole year of this vaccine being out. He's not getting the shot. He stood on his beliefs, and he won. He's going to play in Barclays. Wait on it.
That's it.
All right, let's move on from that. That's really the only news. Like, let's talk about these games like this, right? I don't know why we can't win at home. I don't know why we're 500 at home. Some people blame the City Edition jerseys.
The court.
I get it. Some people blame the court. I love them jerseys. I love them court.
Yeah,
The court. I'm from Jersey. That's restoring the feeling. Like, that's our vibe from the past when we actually did get to the finals. But, man, when you watch a game like we watched on Sunday where DeJounte Murray and Lonnie Walker and Jacopoto, when these guys are on our floor at 12 noon competing with us, it's not a good feeling. Then when you have to, because of the COVID schedule, because of COVID postponing games and the NBA having to reconfigure the schedule, you go from a 12 o'clock overtime game in Brooklyn to getting on the plane and flying all the way across the country to Portland.
Yeah. And playing the next night.
I don't know. Like, we'll talk quickly about the Portland game, but what were you expecting on that Monday night, 10 o'clock game in Portland? I didn't know what to expect. I wasn't expecting we would lose. They didn't have Dame. They're out there with Anthony Simons and Nurkic and Dennis Smith Jr., but it was a letdown completely.
Yeah. I mean, I put out a tweet earlier in the day. I was just like, listen, with the amount of guys that Portland is missing, you can expect that it's going to be one of those games where somebody goes off, and I thought we would like win late, like win by one or, by one possession or something, but we couldn't even get enough done to make that happen. I thought once I saw James was out, I personally thought that it would be like ideal for us to make it, Kyrie and the kids. But apparently, Steve wanted to play Kevin for 44 minutes, and I don't know, like it was a tough watch because you could see the fatigue, and Nash was like sticking to his guns. Not He was still doing the DDJ starting, which I don't know why that was ever a
That's
thing.
done. I bet that's done.
I don't know why that was ever a thing, but other
He
than
heard
that,
the people.
I
He
didn't
heard the
expect
people in
much.
Barclays like, let the kids play the
Bro,
rookies, play the rookies. He's like, okay, literally, I'm going to start David
Yeah,
Duke Jr.
I'm gonna start the third guy on the totem pole that people are calling for. Not Cam, not Kes,
Might
guys
be
who
the
can help
fourth
with the
guy now.
spacing. Not the guys who can help with the spacing, not the guys who have showed that they're, solid defensively. No, we're gonna go with the undrafted David Duke Jr. that nobody, at least that I've seen. I didn't see anyone clamoring for DDJ to
I
start.
think it was because we were getting out rebounded during this stretch.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't
Kessler
have
helps
to be the
that.
guy to justify it, but maybe they thought he was going to help us crash the boards. Either way, that game was a letdown. We could have won the game.
Yeah.
You get 28 from Durant. You get 22 from Kyrie. Kyrie's second game back. You get 21 from Cam Thomas. But what I'll say about the game before we move on is that we are the hunted, right?
Mhm.
When you
You're gonna
look
get the
at
best
teams in
from
like college
everyone.
football, right? Alabama, they're on top. Every week, everybody's trying to knock off Alabama. That's what it's
Yep.
like for the Nets, right?
Yep.
Guys like Dennis Smith Jr. are pumped at the end of the game like they won the finals because they got a regular season victory on their home floor against the Nets.
Yeah.
If we walk into any game not engaged, not prepared, not communicating, and not ready to compete, everybody, not just KD, not just Kyrie, not just Harden. Harden was off that game. I think we also didn't have LaMarcus Aldridge that game.
Yeah.
Not making excuses, but that's how you get beat in the NBA. These are NBA players.
Yeah.
These guys are all hoopers. Like, they can get
Mm.
the best of you if they're better connected. Chauncey Billups came out that game and said Kyrie Irving is the most skilled point guard ever, and that grabbed headlines and attention. That was a little bit of a distraction. Chauncey Billups had his team ready to play, and they got the best of us. Let's move on.
Yeah.
Because after a loss, this game had been circled for weeks, right?
Yeah.
The first time
Especially
we
for
played
all
the
of us.
Bulls, I was in Puerto Rico on my honeymoon, supposed to be like disconnecting from basketball, NBA sports. My wife went to sleep. I got the phone in the bed like this, watching the Nets fall apart in the fourth quarter
Yeah.
in Chicago. Then the second time we play Chicago, I'm at Barclays with my homie that's a Bulls fan, unvaccinated, in the arena, watching the Nets come out early and compete against them. And then there was a bunch of phantom calls and missed layups. I think that was the game Bruce missed a bunch of layups. Harden missed
Yeah.
some layups, and we lose 2 to them. We needed this one last night. What were your thoughts coming off a loss going into this game? I think we were on different sides. I saw you said you were betting on the Bulls.
I was like, listen, I've been trying every reverse jinx in the book. I have to try betting on the other team because my bets never hit. So it was like, yo, either I'm walking away with money or the Nets get a dub. And I'm very, very happy that the latter happened.
Yeah.
But basically what I was expecting from them is, what they brought out. I was like, listen, the number one thing that we can't do is come out sleeping. You got to come out with the intensity on both ends of the floor from the jump. And I think Dayron brought that. I think Kessler brought that. And more importantly, you got it from James because, usually it takes James a little bit to get into a rhythm, get into the flow of the game. But he came out guns blazing and had a phenomenal game. And I think that just set the tone really early for how the game's going to go.
What I'll say about this game is coming off a loss, KD said it in the postgame. He said coming off a loss, we wanted to bounce back no matter who we were playing.
For sure.
And I think the Nets need to take that approach more. It doesn't matter who's on the floor. It's about the Nets. It's about our game plan. It's about us communicating, us being engaged start to finish. Now, the first play for me where I knew that they were engaged, they were locked in, because we heard before the game Steve Nash saying, it's not really a statement game for us. Steve Nash will downplay the fuck out of these games. Like NBA fans and Nets fans are not looking at this like, this could be a potential Eastern Conference Finals matchup.
Yeah.
He'll downplay the game because he's trying to find out and experiment and whatever. But these guys came into a game that was a statement game with the statement jerseys on, and they made the loudest statement of the season. And for me, the moment I knew, it's on, when Harden went up for that three and he got fouled, and I think it was Carl Lane who was in the beginning of the game. He was just trash. Like, the officiating is standard trash. But Harden got fouled, and the ref right next to it didn't call it. And KD and Harden were visibly like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah.
So right when I saw that, I'm like, they want to win this game. Like, they're both locked in. They're both engaged right away. And I don't want to hear that the Bulls were on the second half of a back-to-back. I don't care. We were on the second half of a back-to-back the first two times we played them.
Exactly. Going back to last year, too, it was like every time we played them, it was the second half of a back-to-back.
It's the first half of a back-to-back. We got to play tonight. And we had no Clax, no LA, obviously no Joe Harris. And update on Joe Harris, I think he had a setback. Like, he's working. Nash said the rehab's been trickier than they expected. Okay, whatever. We need Joey back. He might not be back till next month at this point. I don't even know. But we go into that game without our guys. They didn't have Caruso, and then they put Derrick Jones Jr. in for Caruso, and Derrick Jones Jr. goes down right away, like seconds into the game. And then they had to rely on McKinney.
Alfonso McKinney.
I mean, sorry about it, but, like, not that sorry about it. It is what it is. Let's talk about this game as far as, like, individual players go. Let's start off with Kyrie, right? Kyrie's third game. After the game, Kyrie said that he's in preseason form while everyone else is in midseason form, which you could see last night. He missed a bunch of shots. I think he started off 1 for 7. Yeah. I never get mad at Kyrie missing shots. Like I know that he's going to miss shots in the beginning and then start making them. So, like, I'm not tripping off of that either. And I see people on Twitter and all three of these games with Kyrie, like, Kyrie looks shaky. It's like, have y'all never, like, seen Kyrie play?
Right.
Like, he's going to hunt his shot. He's going to do what he's going to do and get hot. He's fine. And even though he only put up 9, he helps us space the floor. Maybe he was used as, like, a decoy distraction some, but what I got from it last night was, like, just Kyrie being with us on the floor with the team is energy. It's positive energy. It's good energy. These dudes love this guy, right? Just to have him on the sideline when we take a timeout or there's a foul or whatever, and you see him doing the fingers with KD, and you see him dapping up people. You see him almost knock DeAndre Bembry over. Like, let's talk about Kyrie. Your thoughts on Kyrie's performance last night, or just Kyrie in general right now?
Yeah, it's basically the same thing that you said. He provides floor space. He helps, like, in my opinion, his playmaking is underrated as well. He isn't scared of contact. He understands that he is gonna get fouled most of the time when he goes into the paint and still finds ways to finish. Another thing that was dope about Kyrie being out there is you're not getting wide open looks for Kevin and for James without Kyrie out there. And both of them had several wide open threes just because of the defense having to respect them on the perimeter. So that was definitely dope. He also, his entire career, in my opinion, he's been an underrated defender. It's just, like you said, bringing energy. And then when you combine that with him being out there with guys like Bembry, you have guys that can literally get guys out of rhythm just by being irritating, just by getting up in their chest, making sure that they don't have the space to get to their spots, fighting over screens. So his presence is so, like, you really can't understate his presence out there, which is why last year when people were like, Kai is, the the third guy or whatever, or making it seem like he wasn't, that big of a deal on the court out there because you have James and Kevin. It's like, no, not everything he does is going to show up in the box score, but when you're watching the game, you can see the impact that he's having.
Breaking news, Jay from BK, no sauces, no sources, has let us know that KD is out tonight.
Well, I just saw a bunch of.
I haven't seen it on Twitter, but I believe it, and I was
KD
kind of
and
hoping that
Patty.
they'd rest him tonight.
KD and Patty, they both deserve the night off.
Okay, I just seen Christian Winfield say KD and Baller Pat.
Yeah,
that's fine.
Cam Thomas show.
I got faith in our young guys, and OKC is a team that we should be able to beat at home. Moving back to the Kyrie talk. Let's see. Do I have any more clips of Kyrie? I do. Okay, so, Kyrie is Kyrie, bro. Kyrie's still going to get his shot off. He's going to get his one-on-one matchups. He's going to get to the bucket. And I know you've heard me say this a bunch. His layup package, once he gets to the rim, like
unmatched.
Nobody finishes like
Unmatched.
this dude. Pause. Like, his
unmatched.
layup package is unmatched. And that didn't go anywhere. Kyrie only having 9 doesn't worry me any. Let's see. Do I have any more Kyrie clips? Yup.
For Mills. Kick. Irving takes the baseline. Got it.
Look at that finish, bro. Look at that finish, bro.
Good. Let's play it again.
For Mills. Kick. Irving takes the baseline. Got it.
Ayo Dosunmu didn't stand a chance.
Nope. And that was a foul. And he didn't get it, but it is what it is.
The NBA officiating is ass. I say this every night, and I tweet about it because I see it. There was a play where KD went up and he got fouled twice. I'm like, how do you watch Kevin Durant get fouled like that and not call it? It's missed calls and phantom calls.
It's because they're not twerking on the court like Nurkic, like Nurkic and Embiid. Like, Kevin Durant is a slim guy who it's actually believable if he would flail on his fouls, but the big 300-pound centers flying all over the court and they're still getting the calls, even though that was supposed to be fixed by the rule changes, but whatever.
All right, so let's talk KD a little bit as we continue through the big 3. KD
with a chance to add to their lead.
KD right here. This bucket right here is to put the Nets up 20. Banger.
Unreal.
I think I saw somebody question KD's three-point shooting ability on Twitter the other day. And that's why sometimes I'm like, if you're trying to learn about basketball, if you're trying to get your knowledge up, Twitter's not the place to read everything and run with it.
I think it was expert Nets analyst. I think it's his he's a troll. Like, he's not serious, bro. People take him so seriously. I'm like, you're a really good troll because people really be getting upset. But he's not. He wasn't serious about that.
I'm glad to hear he wasn't serious because I'm like,
he wasn't serious.
People are reading this and they're seeing expert and they're like, well, must be true. It's not true. KD is KD. He came out locked in. When we're talking about the efficiency king,
the man had 27 points on 10 shots. On 10 shots. That doesn't make sense.
Sensational. Yo,
that doesn't make sense.
It's too easy for him when the court is spaced like this. When you have Kyrie, when you have guys like we're gonna get to all of them. We're gonna get to all of them. Like, everything was clicking last night, and it was clicking early. The thing about KD is he's going to. Let's see. Do I got any more KD threes?
Wait, I want to know more about the blazer. Really, what kind of material is it?
Bring the blazer to us.
KD, they leave KD wide open. KD takes it personal. Dang.
Right. It's like, bro.
You can't defend everybody. You can't defend everybody on the court. And as we keep going player to player, let's talk about the third member of the big 3. Today makes 1 year
since we got Jimmy Harden.
Since we got the bearded one.
Yes, sir.
I know y'all miss Big J, Jared Allen, and Karis LeVert. I do too sometimes, but
I'm making that trade 10 times out of 10 times. And I had, bro, when the trade happened, I had a Karis jersey on the way. And I'm telling you, I'm making
Hey,
that trade every
I
single time.
I swear I was about to order the gray statement jersey with the Jordan logo on it with Karras because Karras had signed to Jordan. I was just about to do that, and I'm
Yeah.
glad I didn't do that. But yeah, the bearded one, he had a night off against Portland.
And I mean, as you can see, like it did wonders. He came in. I knew it was gonna be a great game for the beard when he got an uncontested catch and shoot three and he just let it fly. Because there's times where he's been hesitant this year. I don't know why, but I'm like, bro, you aren't fourth or third all time in 3-pointers made for no reason. Like, shoot the ball, bro. Remember who you are. And he played phenomenally. People always make jokes about how he slows everything down and uses all 8 seconds to get across the court. He was pushing the pace last night. He was getting his dime. He got what, 16? 16 dimes, I think it was.
16 assists, season high,
16.
and it was effortless. Even
It
KD said that.
was.
He said it was effortless, bro. He was throwing behind the back passes for
Between the
fun.
legs too, like bro, he
Between
was
the
out there.
leg
He was out there playing NBA
for
Street.
fun. Hold on, I know I got that clip. Let's see.
NBA Street ball.
Watch Harden skip. Hey, that's in the fourth quarter, yo. That's in the fourth quarter with 6 minutes left.
When they were already up by like 29.
Was James Harden with the highlight
Like,
banger
just because coming off the screen, Day'Ron Sharp. Before we get to Day'Ron Sharp, let's see. Do I have another beard clip? What I noticed with the beard, and he's friends with DeRozan. When DeRozan was on him, there was one time DeRozan was on him, and it was him isolated, and he just kind of gave DeRozan a look, and everybody cleared out, and you thought he was going to try and get by him, raised up, shot it right in his face.
Yep.
That's how you know Harden is good. Like, Harden is okay. Harden is
Day'Ron Sharp, a new career high. James Harden.
Day'Ron
Insane.
Sharp. I'm so proud of this young man. He's ahead of schedule. I know there was a lot of talk about Roy Williams and what Roy Williams said about the men. And if you respect Roy Williams, if you watch college basketball and you know who Roy
Bro,
Williams
I
is,
am a diehard Tar Heel fan. I'm
speak on it. Please speak on it,
bro.
brother. Please.
Bro, I just felt so vindicated with that performance last night. I didn't even feel the need to say anything because I said in March, I was like, yo, the Nets need this Day'Ron Sharp kid. And then the summer league happened and then the season started and it's like, he's not ready. And like, don't get me wrong. He has a long way to go in terms of like his aggression on defense and the way he's like a foul magnet in a way.
Right. That's all. That's the biggest thing. He's getting fouls too quickly.
Yeah.
And he's got to stay under control. But that's gonna come in time. He's learning. That's why I said he's ahead of schedule. Because it's like, bro, you can match up against Nikola Vucevic. Like I was shocked.
Yeah, like that's like I get it. He's not your Embiid or anything, but he's still an all-star center. And when Day'Ron was guarding him last night, he looked comfortable. He got a block on him. The man had, and I feel terrible for this. Like it was his first start, and he got his first 20-point game. Clax hasn't even gotten there yet. Like that's crazy to think about. Like
Good
Clax's
problem to
career high is
have.
19.
Good problem to have.
I'm
We've
just like,
got
yo.
two young bigs that have two different styles.
Two
Good
different
problem to have.
styles, and if one of them can develop, a reliable jumper, it's over. If we keep both of them, it's over. Like they're
I
gonna
think we
be
have a
like
shot
Ja
to.
and Mobley. Watch.
I think
in a
that was
few
the
years.
plan, right? You lose a Jared Allen, and
Yep.
now we see what Jared Allen and the Cavs are doing. Well, let's make it a couple other Jared Allen, or
Right.
you can't make another Big J, but let's make a couple other bigs that we feel good about the future not having Jared Allen. Let's see here.
And
Let's talk about Kessler. From one rookie to another, Kessler gets his first start. Day'Ron gets his second start. But when you see the starting five come out with the big three and then Kessler and Day'Ron, it's like, oh, shit. This is how we're going into this Bulls game.
bro, I was so hyped when I saw that shit because I told I don't know if you heard in the spaces before after the Portland game, we were like, yo, if we see DDJ in the lineup again, we're not watching this game. Like, I'm gonna find something else to do with my night because that experiment did not work at any point, and I don't know how much you need to see for it to realize that it's not gonna work. But when I saw that lineup, I was like, oh, Nash is serious about this game because we've been clamoring for Kess for a minute, and I'll be joking on Twitter like Kessler, Dayron, and Nick. I'm like their unofficial agents. I'm like, bro, my clients in the starting lineup tonight. Like they gonna go crazy.
That's something like, okay, so we just talked on Twitter, right? Because we rewatched the game, and Ian Eagle's like, now Nets fans, are just learning about.
Nah, we've been on the Kess train for a minute.
There was a few people, Jay from BK, a lot of people in the Nets world that were talking about play Kessler Edwards, and so I started looking for the Long Island Nets clips of him, and I'm like, hey, this dude looks like the 3-and-D wing we need. Like, he looks like he's about right to be that guy. He's ahead of schedule. His defense, like, he's on everything, bro. He had a play where it was about to be a Lonzo Ball pass to Levine for a wide open dunk. And I don't know if he was even looking at the ball, but he like stuck his arm out and stopped the pass.
Yep.
And I'm like, that's a huge defensive play.
Yeah.
He's guarding DeRozan. They call DeRozan king of the fourth. They're talking about DeRozan in MVP conversations with KD.
In hell.
I'm watching this game and I'm like, yo, he Levine is actually checking DeMar DeRozan. Am I dreaming this?
No. And then even though it was a terrible game, he did come into the Bucks game and guard Giannis, and he didn't do that bad of a job either.
He did actually lock up Giannis one play.
He got a block on him too, I think.
Wow. Kessler Edwards is ready.
Yeah.
I hope he builds on what he did last night tonight. The hustle, the defense, hitting threes, and dunks. Man, let me see if I have that dunk, man. Dunk of the game. Hold on.
Yeah,
hustle.
This play right
Blake.
here.
Hell yeah. Blake, I got to give props to Blake too. But this play right here, boom. Kessler, flushed. Young man is ready.
It's crazy.
And Marks we trust. Yo, Sean Marks went out and drafted guys that are already in the rotation.
Bro, I'm telling you, besides Musa and Rhodey, Marks drafting history, flawless.
Man, let's quickly go through the rest of the team. We went through the big three and all the starters. Got to give kudos to Blake Griffin. Yeah. He's a guy that was getting DMPs. He battled back. Man, I think you put the tweet out, when he dipped into his bag,
he did the
kissed off the glass.
Yeah, I was like, shut it down. It's
all
over.
Right,
go home, everybody.
We getting a little out of control with it when that's happening. Drawing charges. Props to him for the energy, the hustle, the defense, and even dipping into his offensive bag some. DeAndre Bembry. DeAndre Bembry, put respect on his name. I know people don't really know him or they're unsure about him, but in the last few weeks, like, even when we've lost games, you can't really be mad at him. He's got a higher basketball IQ than people realize. Blake, too. They're making plays. They are the glue guys. They are the guys that you need, the role players that you need around the superstars.
Yeah, and DB, he's never afraid to do the dirty work. He was out there. He did just as well as Kes did in terms of guarding DeRozan, and he was out there on Levine for an extended period of time too. And Levine, like, I remember in the first, when it was still close, he was getting some tough-ass shots. Like, it was nothing you could do. It was nothing wrong with the defense. He was just making some tough shots. But as the game went on, he continued playing the way he was playing. And the big thing was getting right to them at the point of attack and stopping them from getting a rhythm dribble, coming off a pin down for an open shot. Like, he was on them like glue. Like, it was crazy.
DB ends up being a plus 35.
Plus 35.
Blake Griffin ends up being plus 34. And now let's talk about Baller Pat, who ends up being a plus 33. I used to hate Patty Mills. When we would play against Patty Mills, I'm like, this dude is a pest.
He runs
annoying. Around.
Yeah.
We can't guard him. He knocks down threes. He's everywhere. And now he's on our side.
I understand it.
I feel like, someone said it. They're like, when they took my quote and they flipped it. They're like, when Patty chills, Patty thrills. I say some nights when he's cold, Patty chills. Some nights when he's hot, Patty thrills. But last night he was in the corner chilling, waiting for the ball, and that is how we should be using him. That is
Coming
what
off
he's
the
here for.
bench,
He's
too.
not here to be
Yeah.
a starter. He's
Nope.
not here to be playing. What did he play last night? He played 21 minutes last night. He's not here to be playing 32,
30 a
33
game, yeah,
minutes.
exactly.
He's up there in age. He's 33, 34. Like, he's a veteran. He's supposed to be a sniper, an assassin. He finishes with 21 points. He started
6
off
of 8.
3 of 3 from deep, and then he ended up 6 of 8 from deep. Let's see. I know I got some Patty highlights. Dang.
Points. The Beard's fingerprints are all over this
Hold up.
game.
Look for him. Find that little wide open. Bang. It's too easy for the guy. That's what he's supposed to do.
Oklahoma City
From an
Thunder here
intern to
in
co-host.
Brooklyn tomorrow night. Patty Mills got a three.
Then Patty Mills was too hot last night. Hold on. Where is he at? You got to find him. DeAndre Bembry to
Wow.
Patty Mills. Free agent signing of the year in Marks We Trust. I had no idea we were even thinking about getting Patty Mills. And when we did make the signing, I was looking forward to this time, right? Wasn't looking forward to like, okay, now he's got to step up because Kyrie can't play. Wasn't looking forward to, like him being in the starting lineup and getting overused where it's night to night. Like if you get a hot night, you're bound to get a cold night the next night.
Yeah.
This is how we want to keep Patty Mills deployed in this rotation. I guess I give some props to James Johnson. Quiet night for him. He only played 4 minutes. Cam Thomas, 16 minutes, 2 points. David Duke Jr. Like, these guys got in late in the game when the game was over. Let's see. I know I have a clip from that third quarter.
So effectively, this is a lot about his work ethic.
James Harden.
James
Smooth
Harden three.
delivery from the
Now,
outside.
look where we're
It's
at
a
in the
three.
game. There was a point in the game where it was 71-71. And then the Nets
adding
just
to
went on
their
the most
3-point
ridiculous
total.
run of the season.
Vucevic
And they
can't
gave us
answer.
the largest
Rebound,
lead that we had of the
Durant, box
season.
out
We go
on
from
DeRozan.
71
Nets can bring this lead to
71
double figures
to
for the first time tonight.
114-79.
Durant, the bounce for Griffin. The back end, the turn, bank shot goes.
I don't know how much of this I
Blake
can play because
Griffin
YouTube will
with a little
probably
bit of sauce.
flag that, but you just saw Blake Griffin dipping into his
Largest
offensive
lead of the
bag.
night, 10.
Largest lead of the night was 10
Bembry
at this point. It
Getting
would
into
grow.
the space of Levine.
Locking
and
him
Griffin
up.
steps
Blake,
in, nearly
hustle.
creates a turnover. Levine
This
on
is
a
Zach
kick,
LaVine,
ball
y'all.
extra feed. Jumper doesn't go to Sumu.
Defense.
Patty
Hustle.
Mills will get it
Energy.
to Durant. Nice look inside. Griffin, ball fake, and he is hacked.
That
That's
was
basketball.
a insane run in the third. Like it was a great game, and I gotta give since we talked about the players, I gotta give Steve his props for sure for the lineup, the rotations that he had last night, and he the biggest moment in my opinion was when he called the timeout when they had tied the game in the second. And we ended on a 9-2 run. I was like, that's why we talk about stuff like this. I don't know about apologies because it's one game. Like, let's relax with the apology stuff. I'm not posting Bill like that, but I'll give him his props. He had a coaching masterclass last night.
Billy Donovan is a good coach.
Yeah,
Billy Donovan
for
is
sure.
being talked about as coach of the year for the Bulls.
And
He got out-coached by a lot last night.
yeah.
His team wasn't ready to compete with us last night. They got smoked last night. We're in the fourth quarter, and KD is saying, it's a wrap.
Yeah.
Get him out of here. It's a wrap. Get him out of here. Done.
Go home. Beat
Go
traffic.
home.
Beat
Chicago.
traffic.
21,698 people came out there, right? I got homies in Chicago. They told me, bro, at tip-off, the game, but right before tip-off, the game was sold out. You couldn't buy a ticket. No standing room, no seats at the tippy top of the United Center available.
Yeah.
Everybody in Chicago was trying to go to that game. The hustlers, the rappers, the media members, the kids,
Yeah.
everybody wanted to be in the United
Everybody.
Center to see the Big Three versus Chicago, and they got a hell of a show. Not the one that they signed up for.
Nah, it was
But they
dead
got
silent. Dead
one hell
silent
of
in
a
that building
show.
in the third quarter.
The Nets win 138-112. We scored the most points in the NBA last night. Good times. Good time to be a Nets fan.
Yes, sir.
Now, we look forward to tonight. KD not playing. Patty Mills not playing. Good. They earned some rest.
Yeah.
OKC is a team that we should be able to beat. OKC, they lost by 73 points to Memphis or some shit. This year, they've had some embarrassing losses at the buzzer. This is a team right now that kind of is getting what they deserve, right? They're always making trades and
Hoarding picks.
not really investing in their current team. They're always kind of invested in the future.
They're taking a real Philly approach, like a trust the process, but you see how that's working out for them. That never works out for guys, but we'll see. Maybe the 30 picks they have in 2025 will end up, panning out for them.
We are a game and a half back from the Bulls. The Bulls take the season series 2-1. That's it. We don't play them anymore in the regular season. The Miami Heat are third. The Bucks are fourth. Not too worried about the standings right now. But looking at the schedule ahead, we've got OKC tonight, and then we've got the Pelicans coming to town on Sunday.
Yep.
I don't know which game I'm gonna be. I don't know if I'm gonna be at any of these games. I think I gotta chill. But winnable games against lesser opponents.
Yeah.
On our home floor, we expect the Nets to take this win. And I think I was in a Spaces a couple weeks ago where someone was like, do you look at certain games as team building games or momentum building games? I'm like, yeah, these are games that these guys remember, especially these young guys. Their first year in the league, these are moments that you build on, that you harken back to. Remember when we went to Chicago and we This is good for the Nets morale. This is good for the Nets fans' morale. I feel like really this was for the fans. The fans needed it. Because if we lost last night, there's a graphic that put us, OKC, and the Magic together as having the worst record against teams over 500, and I'm like, that doesn't fit us. That's not right.
No.
All right, for this last 10 minutes, we could take questions from the chat. Chat has been active. I've missed most of the stuff, but y'all know we try and keep it for the end of the pod. I'll queue up some voicemails. Let's see. Throw any questions you've got. Appel's is Saturday, not Sunday.
Yeah.
Well, there's NFL football on this weekend, so I'm probably at the crib watching both. Y'all know how I am. I watch baseball, basketball, football, everything. I've been to plenty Nets games, and after I got the COVID and got sick, I'm like, I need to chill for a bit. This winter is kicking my ass. It's stupid cold outside. It's brick every day now, and I'm not trying to be sick like I was last week and then end up missing time from work. Do I have voicemails? I know I do have voicemails. See, so we did a whole voicemail ep, but I think there was one left over. I'll play. We got two voicemails. Someone has said something stupid about trade Joe Harris for Jeremy Grant, and I'm like, nah. I don't think that one's from last week. All right, we'll play this one.
Space in your head.
Yo, it's Jay from Queens, man. Just want to say you've been doing a great job. It's great to have a Nets representative of the fan base on a big-time radio network, man. But I have a question about the actual arena, Barclays Center. I went there the other day, and the arena was so dark, man. And even watching on TV, it just feels so gloomy. Even the person who was watching the game with me felt the same way. It's the darkest arena in the NBA as far as lighting goes. I think Sean Marks last preseason tried to lighten the arena up more, but I guess they didn't stay with it. I understand the theater effect, but man, just make the arena light up at least a half level more. I think it feels too gloomy now. Wanted to get your opinion on that. That's the one thing one of the things I don't like about the arena.
I mean, for me, I don't care about that at all. Continental Airlines Arena was bright. Madison Square Garden is bright. it's just part of the Brooklyn. Like we wear black. Well, we used to wear black. It's just a part of the like Brooklyn
I
way
love
and
it, bro.
persona and
It gives
branding.
me the villain vibe that we have.
Yeah, we're
Like
supposed to be the big bad big three.
exactly. It's not like at the Rock before they moved to Brooklyn. That was terrible. I don't know why they ever thought of playing basketball games at the
I
Rock.
never went to a game there.
You didn't miss out on anything. Trust me.
No, I
But-
tried to go. I
but
think I
it
tell a
doesn't feel
story
like
about
that
Big
hit.
Sean performing there, and they had like $25 tickets. I tried to get
Yeah.
people to take the train with me from Monmouth University to Newark Penn Station, and nobody wanted to go.
The Rock. Yeah, I don't want to rile up. I know you got Jersey fans, so I'm gonna keep it light. But The Rock, I don't know
Nah,
why that
Jersey
was
fans know that wasn't it. That was a stopgap in
That's
between
terrible.
Continental Airlines and Brooklyn. I'm telling you, I could not. I used to beg people to try and go to a Nets game with me. Nobody would go.
And I'm sure you could have gotten in for $4, but
Bro,
yeah,
I'm telling you, there was
terrible.
a promo. It was a Big Sean performance at halftime in like 2010, and nobody still wanted to go. I'm like, yo, let's go see Big Sean at least. They're like,
nope,
the Nets? Mm-mm.
nope.
Newark? Nah.
Nah.
Prudential Center? I'll pass, yo.
Yeah,
So to answer the question, I don't mind that it's dark in there. The arena has gotten better year after year. And what I'll say is they have changed the court, right? Depending on what court. Remember, we used to have the bright, like, wooden court, and then we
Yeah.
had the gray court,
Yeah.
and then now we have the New Jersey court. And in the past couple years, we've had the Coogee and the Basquiat, the City Edition courts. It's fine, man. It's not dark. You can see everything. Like,
yeah.
and I think also that
it's
plays
very,
a part
very
into, like,
Brooklyn.
the people that sit up top.
Yeah.
Right? Like they make it dark in there. Like he said, for the theater effect. You're sitting up top, you're watching the game. It's dark around you, but it's bright down on the
On
court.
the court.
So,
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't mind that. I don't mind that. All right, one more voicemail.
Hey, Keith, love the hustle, man. Keep doing a good job out there, bro. This is your boy, Rahala. Yo, listen, right now, from what I saw from yesterday, the Nets with the big three, yo, they're basically unbeatable, bro. We got to keep this going. I believe that they need about another sharpshooter in the trade deadline, if possible. I don't think there's a big out there right now that could help them with the rebound or anything. I think that big is probably Sharp. He just needs to he's a little raw right now, but he just needs to, grow a little bit and work on his game, which he is. But I think we need another sharpshooter out there because spacing is the key. Forget about just the big three. Spacing is the key. When they're spacing on the floor, they're almost unbeatable. So we get Joe Harris back and we add another wing player that could shoot and stretch the floor. What do you think, Keith? And if so, who would that guy be in your opinion? Thanks, man.
Kessler Edwards. Nah. I mean, the trade deadline is approaching. We just saw Cam Reddish get traded to the Knicks. Like, moves are going to be made, and I keep telling y'all, in Marks we trust, if there is a move to be made, right, trade Javon Carter and somebody else, right? Paul Millsap is getting DMPs. There's guys on this team that we just don't have room for. Make a trade and get us another shooter because as you saw last night, when just with Kyrie on the floor, just with the threat of Kessler shooting, whatever, when these guys have space to operate, they can't be stopped. They can't be stopped. There's too many options to score the ball.
Yeah. I don't think any trade is a necessity. It would be dope to add a shooter, but at
Joey.
full strength, we don't need anything on this team. Like everything.
Right, we just need Joe Harris back, yo.
Yeah.
They flashed the stat last night, the difference of with and without Joe Harris. And for any Joe Harris haters, like that should be enough to show you the value of Joe Harris and why we paid him $75 million. All right, let's go to the chat. Let's see what we got in the chat. I see a couple people put some questions in. Let's see. I saw Brittany put a chat question. How do you guys think the Golden State game is going to go?
Oh man.
Coming
I
up.
think that we're going to see that even though, yeah, they are, a dynasty and they have Steph and Clay, I still don't see Golden State as being a huge threat to us at full strength because, like you said, the guys we have out there, the fact that we have a switchable big that's back now. So one of the main reasons we got killed the last game was because we had LA on the island trying to guard Steph. It's a big difference between LA guarding you out on the perimeter versus Clax. And yeah, Steph, he's still going to get his shots off, but we're gonna see a different game from what we saw last time. I'm telling you, we're better than this team.
Yeah, I expect a different game. I watched that Memphis game closely, and even though they didn't have Draymond, I was like, Nets fans should be watching this game because these are two high-level teams.
Yeah.
The shooting was ridiculous. They just kept matching each other with threes and intensity, and obviously you got Ja Morant closing them out. I think the Warriors started off real hot, but they got to adjust to having Clay back and figure some things out. I don't fear them.
don't
I
either.
know Steph is Steph, and that first game, people made a big deal about him getting MVP chance in the fourth quarter.
Like it doesn't happen everywhere. But
like
whatever.
it literally is Steph Curry. He's
Yeah.
world famous. He's like the most recognizable NBA player. But like I think we'll have something for them this next time around.
Yeah.
Not worried too much about Golden State. Worried about the East and just game by game, these guys improving and the young guys improving. All right, we just hit an hour. I don't see any more questions that are jumping out. Appreciate y'all. Make sure you guys follow DJ. Look up King DJ. I think it's 5'9".
_5297.
King DJ _5297. He's easy to find. If you look at the Talking Nets Twitter, I put his Twitter out there. Follow him on Instagram. Obviously, follow us, Talking Nets. I'm sure all of you follow Talking Nets on Twitter and Instagram, and you're subscribed now. We've got 1,000 subscribers. Subscribe to the pod, though. We're going to start really, creating the pod better and making better shows. You guys notice I had the clips today. I have a guest today. And I've been so transparent with y'all about where we are with Talking Nets as a podcast and as a brand for Nets fans. There is no other co-host but me, but I will have a rotating cast of co-hosts. There's a bunch of people that I want to bring on in the Nets world, in Nets Twitter, that I just feel like more people should be aware of. So look out for that. Subscribe to the pod. Leave us a review, man. Some stupid shit happened with John Boy Media, and we lost 40 episodes of Talking Nets. I don't really want to talk about it and exactly how it went down. But as I am, trying to get help with Talking Nets and get sponsors for Talking Nets and kind of pitching Talking Nets, they look at things like how many reviews you have, how many ratings you have on Apple and stuff like that. So we got to get those up. If you notice that the podcast we're missing, I think we're missing from June 3rd to 2 weeks ago. We had a mole inside of the company go and physically delete 40 of my episodes. Not just me, talking Yanks, talking baseball, other episodes on John Boy Media got hit. But we're building back up. We'll have more guests. We'll have better shows for YouTube with clips and different things. And we'll get the chat going as always. Let's see, here's a question. Do you think Dayron can overtake Clax as our starting center in the future? It's about matchups.
I think it's going to be – I think the most optimal situation would be a Mobley and Clax situation where you could play them together, but you need one of them to have a reliable jumper for that.
Clax play the 4?
Exactly. You need somebody to get a jump shot.
So, good vibes, good energy. Appreciate DJ coming on. Check him out. Nets Republic.
Yes, sir.
Tonight, I'm sure we'll be doing Nets Twitter Spaces after the game. I'll be on air at WFAN right before the game. I'll be on at halftime with Chris Carino and Tim Capstraw, and then I'll be on after Talking Nets on the radio, even if they don't really want me to talk about the Nets on the radio. Our World Nets World, appreciate y'all for watching, subscribing, and tuning in. We'll be back after the next 2 games, so expect an episode maybe on Monday. That's all I've got. DJ, you got anything to add?
Just, follow Nets Republic. We got content coming. It's going to be a big year for us. Make sure you got to tap into everything that Keith is doing. He's out here representing us on the mainstream. Support, the show on WFAN. Support Talking Nets. Nets World, baby.
Yes, sir. And I'm on the mainstream media, but I promise I'm going to keep putting on. So keep checking out Talking Nets everywhere you can find Talking Nets. All right, y'all,
Yes,
we
sir.
out of here. Let's go Nets. Let's go Nets. Bro.